This is an RNZ podcast. Kia ora and welcome to the Kākāpō Files from RNZ. I'm Alison Balance. I really didn't mean to be back quite so soon. I was thinking I might have a few days off, but turns out it's a really busy summer solstice. So to find out exactly what's happening in the Kākāpō world, let's give Andrew Digby a ring. He's the Kākāpō Recovery Program scientist. Kia ora again, Andrew. Are you still on the island?
Yes, I am. Kia ora, Alison.
Now, you were out and about last night. What's Whenua Hou like at the moment? What's going on at night?
So it's quite lively for this time of year. Often the Kākāpō, and they rarely get into breeding in January normally, but at the moment there's lots of males booming, even though it's just after mid-December. And they're even booming during the day. So we've had quite a lot of booming from Kākāpō when we're walking around the hillside in the day. And at night, there's a lot of activity.
So that booming during the day especially shows that the males are really hyped up, aren't they?
Yes, they really are. And as we walk around the island, we can see lots of grubbing from where they've formed their tracks and bowls. That's their display areas. And so they've really been working on those for several months. And now they're really into booming mode and booming really well. And last night I stood and there's a Kākāpō booming on the track just 4 meters in front of me and it just kept booming while I stood there watching it. So, yep, they're really into booming and they're not going to be disturbed from it.
So have the males put on weight? Because this is going to be a real marathon for them, isn't it?
Yeah, they put on massive amounts of weight in the breeding season. They'll increase their weight by at least 50%, sometimes 100%. So males, which we were weighing just over 2 kilograms just a couple of months ago, and now over 3 kilograms. And in fact, we caught Sinbad yesterday. He's one of our male Kākāpō, and he weighed just under 4 kilograms. He was about 3.8 kilograms. So yeah, they've put on massive amounts of weight, and they'll lose it all quite quickly over the summer because they're just concentrating on booming and not on feeding.
It's great to hear that the male Kākāpō are getting into it so much. That'll be because of all that rimu freak we heard about in the last episode. So this is what the island will be sounding like at night. You can hear one male Kākāpō booming, and the rest of that higher pitched chatter is a whole lot of seabirds. Petrels and shearwaters, they breed on Whenua Hou in their tens of thousands. Hey, I just got an exciting email from the manager of the Kākāpō Recovery Team saying she's got some news for us. Let's give her a call. Kia ora, Deirdre. Welcome to the Kākāpō Files.
Kia ora, Alison. So I'm Deirdre Verko. I'm the Operations Manager for the Department of Conservation's Kākāpō and Tākāhi teams.
Now, we were going to have a leisurely rollout of this new podcast, but I get the feeling that you might have some exciting news.
Yeah, we do actually. So Christmas has come a bit early for the Kākāpō team. Obviously, we're expecting Kākāpō to breed this summer, and we've been quite excited about that, but we weren't really expecting an early season, and we've now had the first matings. So a female named Pearl has mated with a male named Boss 2 times over the last few nights. Yeah, it's put us in a bit of a spin, and it's a bit of a record breaker.
OMG, that's amazing. So in the past, who's been the earliest and when has been the earliest?
In the past, our earliest has been Christmas night and Boxing Day. So that's happened in a few different years, really big seasons, 2002 and 2009. So given that we weren't really expecting an early season this year, to break that record, it's pretty exciting.
Now quickly tell me, where are Kākāpō?
Kākāpō are on 3 different offshore islands. So our main breeding population is on Whenua Hou, or Codfish Island, which is just off the northwest tip of Rakiura, Stewart Island. And then we have another breeding population on Anchor Island in Dusky Sound, Fiordland. And then we have a small population up on Hauturu, or Little Barrier Island.
So where have Pearl and Boss done their business?
Pearl and Boss are leading from the south, so they are on Whenua Hou.
Excellent. And tell me a little about these birds.
Well, Pearl, I think she was one of our 2002 birds. so she's a reasonably young female. Boss is one of our founding males from Rakiura, so he was probably located in the 1980s.
Good one. That means we don't know how old Boss is. He could be quite old, but we have no way of telling. Pearl, on the other hand, we know is 16. Let's give Andrew another call. Isn't this great news about Pearl and Boss, Andrew?
Yeah, it's fantastic news. It's very exciting. It's a little bit unexpected. We weren't necessarily expecting mating to happen this early. It's never happened this early before, but yeah, it's really good news. It's started. It's here.
You were predicting it was going to be a reasonably late breeding season, maybe things not kicking off until later on in January. Do you reckon all the other birds are going to follow suit now, or could we see a bit of a gap?
I think we might still see a bit of a gap. In the past, when there's been very early mating, the earliest matings we've had is on Christmas Day in 2002 and 2009. After that, there was a 2 to 3 week gap before the next mating. So we expect that we'll see the same sort of thing, but this year is a little bit different. There's so much fruit around, and we wouldn't be surprised if we see 1 or 2 other early ones as well.
So now that Pearl has mated, and I think she's mated a couple of times, what's going to happen with her now?
Yeah, so she will start laying eggs, and sometime round about up to a week after that mating. It's because she's mated twice, there's a good chance those eggs will be fertile. The more times a female mates, the more likely it is that her eggs will be fertile. And so then she'll lay eggs about 3 days apart. Last breeding season, she laid 3 eggs. They were all fertile. And we'll detect that she's nesting from her activity on her transmitter. So we'll look for a drop in her activity. We get that transmitted remotely. We receive those data on our computers every morning. And once we receive that, then we'll start looking for a nest round about just before New Year.
And how long will she incubate those eggs for?
She incubates those eggs for about a month. If they're fertile, then we expect those chicks to hatch in late January.
Well, we all know how this goes, don't we? All together now. Don't count your chicks before they hatch. Pearl's eggs might not be fertile. They might not even hatch. In the next episode of the Kākāpō Files, we'll find out how she's getting on and what all the other birds are up to. It might be a few days before you hear from me again, but in the meantime, if you're enjoying the podcast, I would love it if you'd share it with anyone else you think might like it. You can find us online at rnz.co.nz. Just search for Kākāpō, Kākāpō. You can also listen for free by subscribing to us as a podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and in many other podcast places. Don't forget, Kākāpō Recovery is on Facebook. You can follow Andrew Digby and myself on Twitter. Or, to find out everything there is to know about Kākāpō, check out my book, Kākāpō, Rescued from the Brink of Extinction, which tells you about the bird, its history and biology, and the conservation program. I'm Alison Balance, and this is the Kākāpō Files from RNZ. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Bye for now. Kia pai tō rā.